Hello, Sean. It's nice to get a chance to chat with you from far away.
Yeah, you too, Andrew. Good to meet you.
Good to meet you too. You were here not that long ago, if I'm correct. Is that right? You were in town in Toronto?
Yeah. They flew me out there to do a little afterbite show after the Bitten episodes air.
So, what's it like for you, considering the fact that you're new to the cast? I mean, it's fairly unique to say, first of all, that your character is completely fresh from the books and not in the books, I should say. And then, second of all, that you're joining a fairly established cast and kind of jumping in there.
Yeah, man. I think it's like anything. It's like this little high school thing, and you're coming into the cool kids group, and you're just like, oh man, I hope they like me. I hope this is gonna go okay. Um, yeah, it literally it's like it's or coming into like a Christmas dinner of a family, and you're just like, hey, you mind if I sit down and join you guys for the entire thing? And maybe I'll say grace. I don't know. But it was good, man. And fortunately for me, everybody on the cast and the writing team and the producers and everybody like that are like literally the coolest people you could ever meet. All of them. Not just one or two, but all of them are just so welcoming and cool. And I think I think the showrunner was really excited to kind of have this character finally because it was the antagonist for the season, and I think they were kind of happy to meet me and finally have somebody to connect this character to and to involve in the show. So it was just welcoming all around, man. It was awesome. It was nerve-wracking for me, but it was awesome at the same time. Yeah.
It's you said saying grace. It's hard to imagine Alistair saying grace.
In one of the episodes, right? I say it's like holding hands around the dinner table, saying grace, as though that brought grace into my life. But yeah, I don't know if I've ever said grace myself. That's bad, right?
Oh well, just a thing. But I mean, this is the next question: is who is Alistair? I mean, because it's hard for us to imagine him having a reference point to saying grace around a table, or holding hands around a dinner table, or anything like that. So,
Right.
I mean, what can you say about him, and what's your reference point for him?
Um, they kind of touch on it in I think it's like episode 5 or whatever, but it was my audition stuff where basically he talks about being abandoned as a child and then picked up into the adoption world, and getting put in foster families and being abused, and being raised in a completely Christian background, and this kind of stuff leading. Wow, God, can you say that? Can I say that is what led to his abusive, or him being abused? I guess I don't want to blame religion, I guess, but maybe in the storyline, I guess that's what they're saying, is the belief of this family and individual led to that kind of stuff. So I think he was just a regular kid, and just wanted the regular life and regular things, and I don't think it ended up that way. Plus, he started developing these powers, and I think, let alone just being confused, it just wrecked him. It wrecked him slowly. But he came from a good place, I think, like every innocent child does.
It's all in the path, I guess, along the way, and how they might end up from there.
I guess the left-hand path, you mean?
So, I mean, going into this character, did you have a particular way that you wanted to play him, or something that you were trying to work with in terms of his story?
I think so. I think for me, Alistair kind of had this old world feel to him, and I think it might just come from growing up the way that he did and having a harder life, that he kind of had to develop this persona over what may be just like an innocent human being just kind of strolling around the earth. I think this guy kind of put up a big shell, and and developed something that he knew or thought would be steadfast, unemotional, strong, and yeah, just something to go ahead with, I guess. But I watch Game of Thrones, so there was
as we all do, I think.
yeah, of course, right? Yeah, as the entire world does. But I don't know if I'm getting the character's name right, but I think it was Oberon.
Oh yeah.
Would that be right?
Yep.
He was coming in there to avenge his God, what was it, his sister or something like that, and he had to fight the mountain. Anyway, so let me tell you, it was. I mean, his character was an inspiration to me for sure. Just the way he was so still all the time and calculated and calm, and just when he talked to people, it was so direct, and he was hiding nothing about his feelings, his emotions, whatever. But he still stayed calm the whole time, and just if he showed anything, it would just like the flame would light, and then it would go back down. Anyway. So yeah, that guy was definitely something I watched and wanted to take a bit from. So.
And I mean, it's fairly likely that not to ruin much, but he'll have probably as sad an ending in the end as perhaps Oberon.
That was the most brutal death I've ever seen on TV ever. I could not believe it. Okay, me watching TV, I'm just like, oh man, he's gonna win, and then this is me. Oh, no way! Like looking around for somebody in my house to see if they saw it. Nobody was there to share it with me. But anyway, Alistair, oh boy.
Probably not a happy ending coming out of Alistair.
Yeah, I mean, look, in my eyes, I would love a happy ending for Alistair because I think he deserves it. But, you know, he's just a boy seeking, you know, his mother's approval and love and acceptance. And yeah, I don't know. I can't say anything about it. So, but you know, maybe you're on the right path.
It's hard to say. I mean, when people are talking about him as the big bad, you know, you don't feel like things are going to end in the next season. You know, Alistair's going to be their buddy or something.
Yeah.
The witches will see to that, if nothing else, it seems. But
I literally. My first episode on set, and I told the writers, I'm like, I'm not coming out of this, am I? And they're like, well, why do you say that? I'm like, I've been here 5 minutes, and I just killed that witch. I'm like, I'm pretty sure when a guy appears in a show and his first episode starts slaying people, you know, innocent people, not just people, very innocent people for no apparent reason with no remorse. I'm like, I just got a feeling he's not coming out of this. But they didn't. They literally didn't leave it, or they left it until the end to tell me what was going to happen or whatever. So.
Well, can you talk a little bit about this next episode that's coming up? Any tease that you can give us about the basics of what's going on?
I mean, there's so much happening. They're going to find out a little bit more about connecting the dots of Alistair and Clara, who they've touched on her meeting me and stuff like that. They're gonna connect a few more dots with that relationship and the undoing and what it means and what's actually supposed to be happening. And it's gonna be a big episode. If I can tell people, it's gonna be a big episode. And yeah, I'm gonna. God, it's gonna be big. It's gonna be big. That's all I'm gonna say. This is a big episode, and everybody needs to have love and forgiveness in their heart, and just warmth and acceptance, and but be ready for the fight.
That seems like, I mean, ready for a fight seems like most episodes, which is the selling point, I think, of Bitten. Do you have a selling point, something you wish that people thought about with this whole topic now that, you know, there's the question of season 3, what, you know, renewal and everything. What's the selling point for you, being on it or watching it or whatever, for Bitten?
Yeah.
Why it needs a 3rd season?
Well, look, I'll be honest, man. I wasn't a fan of the show prior to getting the part, and then you watched the first season, and I became a fan. Look, I'm a lover. I'm a lover. Whether or not I play bad guy or not, I'm a lover, and I'm a fan of Clay and Elena. I was a fan of the battle to win love. It's Romeo and Juliet. It's that story of love, and you want that for people. You want it for everybody. You want it for the world, I think. And even as a fan of the show, even when they've just left the compound in the second season, I was actually excited to see Clay and Elena get back together. I was like, it's like this warmth of what you initially fell in love with in the show got back together, and then you start to feel connected to that pack and the family and the warmth and love that they feel for one another and the protectiveness and everything. And yeah, I'm a fan of family, love, connection, all that kind of stuff. And I think if it was to come to a third season, I would be excited to just see more of the family dynamic and the relationship between everybody and how they all interact after such a big thing has occurred in their world. Because this has really opened up doors and boundaries of existence that they didn't even know were possible, because they lived such a sheltered existence, I suppose. And now maybe they're going to go out in the world and explore and, I don't know, take in finding new things. But yeah, I would like to see them get back to the family and the connection with Clay and Elena and see that go somewhere.
That's cool. I mean, I can relate to what you're saying. I think that's a great example of what Bitten has for it, especially now with the witches, and it does open doors for even more types of creatures, even and other worlds, I guess you could say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of Clay, I wondered, for the big scene that you just had in that last episode, where basically the idea is that he's a meat puppet, basically, and Alistair is the strings behind it.
Yeah.
Did you guys talk about how that was going to work, and whether or not how he was going to play you controlling him?
Yeah. Well, I didn't find out that this was going to happen until literally like the episode before, and then Grayston called me and just asked if we could get together and chat, and he had already seen some videos of stuff that I'd done, and we just talked about what would be important for little small things to come out, because you can't take away completely his character and him just be Alistair and Alistair not have a clue what he's doing. Otherwise, the coup would not be able to happen. So it had to be like these subtle things of possibly his cadence, the way Alistair spoke, like I said, kind of in an old world feel. But the challenge that Grayston had with that, and that I had with helping him, was that his dialogue is written for Clay. And Alistair, his dialogue has a flair to it that allows that cadence in my voice to just kind of flow. And when I read the stuff for Grayston, I was just like, dude, this is just not the way Alistair talks. It's so hard. It becomes like almost theatrical and a bit strange. So I'd say kudos to Grayston for having just a subtle touch to it that really gave everybody the feel that I was just still a part of him. And it was just never too much, which it would have been super simple as an actor to just overplay something. And yeah, but all we did is chat about it, and then I kind of left him to his devices, and Grayston's fantastic. So he played that excellent, man. I got to tell you, it was such a treat to watch.
Nice. Well, last couple things. First of all, what else are you watching? Like, what else do you watch on TV? Are you a sci-fi guy? I mean, you seem to be in quite a bit of it.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not a huge sci-fi guy. I watch The Walking Dead. Is that sci-fi? Is that
Kinda, yeah. I think that qualifies.
qualifies as stands in the realm? I watch that. I watch Bates Motel. I don't know if you watched that, but my God, the acting on that is just so ridiculous. It's amazing. Um, yeah, The Walking Dead. I mean, it's gone on what 5 seasons, and I'm still not. I've had a lull for a couple of episodes, but really that show has just kept my heart pounding, which floors me for 5 seasons. Um, yeah, I don't know what else, man. I got a lot. The Following. Watch The Following.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I do watch a little bit of dark stuff because I do tend to play bad guys, even if it's on sci-fi and stuff. I do tend to play the bad guys, so I guess I like it a bit dark.
Are you hoping though that I mean you seem to have a great sense of humor. Are you hoping to do something lighter, next maybe or?
Yeah, well, you know what? I have done some comedy.
Of course, yeah.
I did a couple of pilots and stuff like that were comedy, and I love it. I love it, man. I love comedy. It's a ton of fun for me. I'm a big fan of like Wedding Crashers and stuff like that. Man, I watch that show every day. But yeah, I love comedy. I would love to get into doing like a comedic series or something like that. I got close to getting one in Toronto, man. It was right before Bitten. Yeah, it was down to the wire. But yeah, yeah, I would love to. I would love to do some comedy, and I love watching comedy. I watched a show called I think it's called Undateable.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think it's hilarious. I think and New Girl. My God, that's funny too, man. But yeah, I think that Undateable, man, they touched on kind of a Friends vibe. Like they actually found like the way that Friends formatted their show, and I believe that they kind of found it and have been somewhat successful with it. I know it's a big statement, people, Friends, but I really think that they did, and that's hard to match, man. It's hard to find a good show to be into like that with the characters. So yeah, it's cool.
Cool. Well, is there anything else we can watch for you in the next little bit?
God, what did I do, man? I just did a pilot for. I don't know if it'll air. That's the thing. It's called The Advocate, and you never know. But it looks like it's going to be a good show. I have no idea. But it's called The Advocate. I think I don't want to say what network because I'm not sure if I've got that right. It might be NBC, but who knows where it'll end up. And yeah, man, I'm just in talks with some people about some films, but whether or not they're going to go, who knows? But there's a possibility I might be shooting a horror film in New Mexico sometime in the summer. Yeah, it's this guy from Sweden that he's putting together this project. I'm going to say the name of it, but hopefully he won't get mad. But it's called Doula, and anyway, could be fun. We'll see. But it's yeah, I stick a little bit in the horror genre. I might be collaborating with the Vicious Brothers again. I did a horror movie called Grave Encounters and
Yeah.
an extraterrestrial, and yeah, we're fun to put together another piece. So I might head out there and we might shoot in the desert for a couple of days and just get something in the can. But we'll see.
Are these more villains, or do you know yet?
No, you know what? I think they're more like they're heroes in a sense, but they have a touch of the bad guy, which is what I play. I tend to lay in this line of a bad guy that you might be able to sympathize with, right? So they're the anti-hero, but they end up being the hero at the end. So
Nice. Well, I can't wait to see them, and again, thank you for chatting today. Really nice to sit down over the miles.
yeah, I appreciate the time, Andrew. Thanks, man.
All right. Well, have a good day.
All right, pal. You too. See you later.
See ya.